And I always tell people, do not hire a publicist and say, I need to be on the news in 3 weeks. PR can be something that everyone can definitely take advantage of when they're in the right space. A lot of times people come to work with me and they're like, I want to be on Fox 2, I want to be on CBS. They don't have a website. They don't have a landing page or a place someone can learn more. And so you go on Fox 2, you talk, you yap, you get the social media content, and then what? How can people find you?
Yeah.
What's your story? How do people connect with you? Is everything that needs to be done before you can be in front of the camera? We're partners. We're not magicians. And I always say PR is a partnership. The same way someone's interviewing me to be their publicist, I'm interviewing them because I want to make sure you want to show up and be your best self.
Working professionals, creators, entrepreneurs, I need y'all to tap in. Listen, if you're tired of fighting distractions at home or bouncing around from coffee shop to coffee shop, then Bamboo has exactly what you need to be able to lock in and get your work done. In addition to having flexible meeting rooms and event space, they've got a community that actually supports you while you're in the building. So if you're ready to lock in some space right now, guess what? I got you. If you head over to bamboocowork.com right now and use the promo code BlackFriday20, you'll get 20% off any of your rental bookings. Don't waste any more time. Head over to bamboocowork.com and take care of that. Use that promo code. I'll be seeing you at a Bamboo location sometime soon. Now, let's go ahead and get back into the episode. What up, though, Black Friday? Jesus Christ. What up, though, Black Friday family? Welcome back to another installment of the Black Fridays podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I need you to hit that like button, subscribe, drop a comment, send some videos to family, friends, and loved ones so that we can keep this thing going. Now that I got that business out of the way, I want to introduce you to my guest who is helping all of us out here have more successful presence out there to the world through public relations. Miss Kiana Montgomery, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Denzell. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for pulling up on us on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me. I've had some great clients come up here, so I'm looking forward to having my turn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now that we had a chance to talk to some of your clients, we got to talk to the woman behind the business. So key takeaways. Before we get into that, I want you to be able to help level set what is public relations like and how is that different from communications?
So it all works together. So I always tell people public relations is marketing without the ad spin, right? So public relations is more long form storytelling. It's more convincing the public. I would think of it as like Nike Just Do It. That's like marketing. That's advertising. Public relations would be Nike CEO sitting down and speaking to people about how their products are more superior than Adidas. The history of why he started the business, things like that.
Gotcha. And what does public relations look like at Key Takeaways?
What public relations looks like for my business is a little bit more hands-on. I am 5 years entrepreneurship and also 5 years corporate America. And so I've worked with the biggest PR agencies in the world at the time, Edelman, as well as the biggest PR firm in Florida at the time, which was Sachs Media Group. And so within that realm, I've learned the corporate way of doing things, but also within 5 years of entrepreneurship, learned how to take those bigger strategies and tactics and make it more palatable for entrepreneurs. Understanding that when I was working with Edelman, working with Tazo Tea or SeaWorld, they had 50 people to help implement our ideas and our strategies versus if I'm working with a restaurant or something like that, they maybe have 10 employees, right? They cannot answer my email as soon as possible. So I had to think through how to make sure people can get the same quality of work, but within their bandwidth.
Very dope. And for you, when did you did 5 years corporate, 5 years entrepreneurship? When did that moment come that you felt it was time to pivot and make PR your thing and go out on your own?
Yeah, so when I graduated, I told myself, and God, I only wanted 5 years, right? But I got comfy, I got cushy, I was having a ball working on these big clients and, really enjoying it. And so at the height of COVID, I moved to Michigan. I was living in Florida at the time. Florida was not shutting down. Florida was still partying, still Florida's going out. Outside. Yeah. COVID did not exist in Florida, and I'm a bit of a germaphobe. And so I packed up, shifted myself back to Michigan, and was just working remote from my agency. And so maybe within a year, my agency emails me and they're like, hey, just let you know, we're all coming back to the office. You need to move back or we'll have to have a conversation. So I was like, I'm just going to coast because I had no plans to move back. If the world shuts down, I absolutely love Florida. I have a great friendship community, but I don't have any family there. So if anything happened, I really wanted to be close to family. And so I took that as my step. I got a great severance and I used that to invest in key takeaways.
Very dope. So we're going to continue down your business journey, but I got to introduce you to my favorite part of Black Fridays, what you should know about this, Freestyle Fridays. So do you got some key takeaway bars for us or
bars?
Yeah.
That's not my ministry. What's the other option? What's the other option?
You sure you don't want to freestyle?
I don't even have that in me. I'm trying to think of something I'm literally it's like flatline in my brain right now.
For sure. So we can do rapid fire questions if that works also.
That's for me.
All right, bet. So tell me about one of the funniest PR situations that you've had in recent memory.
See, that's the thing about PR. It could be funny to other people, but it's stressful to me. Like,
funny to look back on now.
Funny to look back on now. Client, Temate, Dance Institute. I had somehow, I had somehow flipped the addresses. There was a convening, and one was one day, another was the second day, and I had somehow flipped the addresses in my mind when I was calling the news station, and calling the news station, they went to the wrong address, and the client luckily was just so like understanding that this was like high pressure for me. It was already important. It wasn't anything of like it was just a mistake. And I can look back on it now and one, be grateful that I have an understanding client, and two, laugh because how busy are you that you're flipping addresses when you're on the phone? But it's like, things like that happen, and it's a good way to slow down because PR is very high pressure. We're not saving lives, but we are taking someone's dream and trying to bring it to reality. And to me, that's high stakes.
Yeah, for sure. What's your favorite place to travel?
Favorite place to travel is Barcelona, Spain. That's an easy answer. I absolutely love Barcelona. I tend to go to Europe maybe 3 months out the year, and Barcelona, I like to stay at least 2 months of that. And it's just, the food is amazing, the nightlife, the restaurants, the people. And I enjoy it because unlike America, I've found that, I can't say all of Europe, but in Barcelona, they don't lead with what they do, how much they have, or their car and things like that. Are you a good time? Are you here to have fun? And that's really all that matters. And those are my type of people. Somebody
came in town that's not from Michigan, not from Detroit. What are you taking them to do for the day? You got 24 hours.
Detroit Institute of Art. I love that. The Wright Museum. Wow. I went again maybe 3 weeks ago, and I forgot how powerful it was. So maybe I'd flip that. If it's only 24 hours, Wright Museum, and then we'll see DIA towards the end, just because institutionally it's a beautiful museum. Food-wise, you have to start at Parlay.
Okay.
Just because you never know who you'll see in there, and I think it's a great way to kind of like get the energy of Detroit. I feel like every type of Detroiter you can find in Parlay. It's not like too pomp and circumstance. People are just there to have a good time.
Right.
Nightlife or like a bar. I mean, J. Alexander's, I kind of forgot about J. Alexander's. And I know they're not like Detroit made or homegrown, but I mean, similar to Parlay, like that energy in there on like a nightlife vibe. Because I'm not really like a club person. I love like just a nice bar.
Yeah.
So J. Alexander's is beautiful for sure. Always popping through a bookstore. Church. I feel like church is a good way to feel Detroit energy. My church, Life Application Ministry, is on Shaner. Like, it's so welcoming. And so if I was bringing someone in, and maybe, Detroit, sometimes we have a bad reputation based on movies and music and the news. But I mean, for the most part, we're really community based. And so definitely church if it's like based on a Sunday or Tuesday Bible study.
Dope. And you mentioned books. What's a book that you want people to tap into or that you're reading right now?
So I just finished Medusa. I'm Medusa, by a writer called Kiana, and I'm blanking on her last name. Such a great read. It's a reimagination of Medusa's story, and the Greek gods are black. Love it, love it, love it, because why not? And instead of Medusa being non-black, her hair originally, before it's turned to snakes, is locks. And so a lot of the imagery is speaking to how beautiful the locks are and things like that. And so going to school in Florida, up north we call them dreads. And if you go to the South, majority of the time people are going to correct you that they're locks. And it's a whole connotation of dreads, and dreading things and things like that. And so I love that book because I feel like regardless of your race, you can really just enjoy a retelling of a story that we all feel like we know, but it's getting deeper into personalities and things like that.
Got you. And last but not least, because public relations is about communication, if your phone can only do one of these functions, which one would you prefer? Video call, voice call, or text message only?
Text message. I love a voice note. My voice notes are like podcast episodes. Like if I could do a 30-minute voice note, I would, and I'll just yap and I'll forget what I'm talking about. But at least like because everybody's on the go, I tend to not call people because I'm like, what if they're doing this? What if they're doing that? My phone stays on do not disturb. I hate the sound of a phone ringing. So to be able to like send a voice note, they can listen to it whenever they can or whenever they have time. During their nighttime routine, whenever I got your attention, that's great. So text message for sure.
I'm about to start doing that. I'm about to start sending mini podcasts.
You should.
Episode, with my voice notes.
Watch how many people appreciate it. And I'm like, thank you so much for telling me about your day.
And you can see who listened to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they can pause it, go back to it. They can see the transcript of it.
Yep.
I mean, whoever invented that, they're my favorite person.
For sure. Well, thank you for partaking in Freestyle Fridays, even though you didn't rap.
I was going to say, thank you for giving me the option not to rap.
So going back into your business journey, I would love to be able to know the 5 years that you spent in corporate. Obviously, you have the opportunity to be able to be like assigned to clients and things like that. But I'm curious as to when you decide to go out on your own, how did you build your book of business and what was that journey like for you? And obviously, it's never ending in entrepreneurship.
So I love talking about this because one, it's a testament to like Detroit's community. Every client that I've gotten has been word of mouth or networking. I've never spent a dime on advertising or social media ads. I just hired my social media manager last year and they do an amazing job. And honestly, starting my business, I was out and I was, taking a step back. I was in Orlando, living, dipping, doing it, and read this article by the New York Times, 16 Black chefs changing the culinary scene. Just so happened Chef Max Hardy was in that roundup. So I DM him, hey, I'm coming in town because I was already coming in town and my aunt and I, we love visiting Black-owned restaurants. I was like, I'll be here from these days. What days will you be on site? Because I'd love to learn more about, the menu, inspiration, all that good stuff. So fast forward, I go, I visit him. It's literally before COVID is announced. But Sachs Media Group, the agency I was with at the time, they do a lot of legislation work. Tallahassee's in, it's the capital of Florida. Literally the office is up the street from the Capitol. And they heard the rumblings of virus, something happening, could be coming over. And we had started telling our clients like, hey, we don't know what's going on, but it may change. And so I was telling Max about it, and he was like, oh no, the restaurant industry would crumble. I mean, no, American history would crumble if the restaurant industry crumbled. And so I'm like, well, this is what I'm hearing. Fast forward, it happens. And I guess he was just like, okay, you know what you're talking about. And so he was like, how can I hire you? And at the time I was still in my agency, I was like, well, you don't want to have a bloated PR budget from an agency, but I know other publicists. He was like, no, I want to work with you. So we speak, we talk, we worked together for about 4 years off and on. And he always spoke very highly of me, and he was a trusted voice himself. And so him speaking highly of me, going out networking on my own behalf, and creating organic relationships. I always tell people when you go out to network, it's not to always like pass out your business card or pitch your business right then and there. Create organic relationships, create organic ties to people, and they'll want to see you win. So a lot of times my 2 biggest clients from last year was a personal connection that I enjoy spending time with this person, enjoy hanging out. We go to Pilates, we do all these things. But as soon as she was in her professional circles and someone said they needed a publicist, I was thrown in the ring because of that organic connection. So I think of networking as more of like community building instead of like building your portfolio. Mm-hmm.
And could you tell us like what services you provide and what does that look like for someone to be onboarded to working with you?
Yeah, so services, traditional media. So what that looks like is instead of a commercial, I would pitch you to Fox, CBS, radio, podcasts, and send them an in-depth pitch about your story, why it matters, why it's timely, and how it aligns with their audiences and their stakeholders. They would say yes, no, this is a good time, maybe in the future. And then we'd get you on there. I'd help prep you before the interview. Here are your talking points. Here are the things you might want to stay away from. Here are the things you want to lean into and all that good stuff. Other things we do, I say we because I do have interns and things like that. We do community engagement where if you're having an event, we do the research to make sure those stakeholders that are actually going to come in and spend money with you, they're going to be at the event, not just people that are just like filling the seats. We also do media training. I have a service called The Way You Show Up. And what that is say you open a business and you don't have time to sit down and train every person that's on your team. A lot of people forget that opening that brick and mortar is great, having that website is great, but once people get in there, if the customer service isn't there, if a customer comes in and then they ask a question and then your front desk people can't tell you why or the ingredients or your history, more than anything, people believe in brands and they believe in stories. And so if your team member can't adequately communicate that on your behalf, you're missing opportunity. We have other services, of course. Sometimes I'm pulled into things that's actually not my expertise, but I rarely say no to a challenge. But I tend to stick to media events and all of those good things that can be fun, but also strategic and time consuming.
And you mentioned media training, so I'm curious as to what that would look like, because people will talk about media training and stuff like that, but some people jump into media opportunities without that. So it's like I'm wondering, what does that look like for you to get somebody media ready?
So at Key Takeaways, media training kind of goes through. So how we start is we give you a bio questionnaire. And so a lot of times people don't realize those nuggets that'll actually connect with people. People are like, oh, I opened this business 10 years ago and I do this and I do that. That's great. But did you open this business because these are your grandmother's recipes that she learned from her grandmother? Did you open this business because you saw a lack in the community and you were in, corporate America and you saw this lack and you wanted to fill this gap? All of those different nuggets, that's how people connect. And so that's how we start. We start with the bio questionnaire. Within that, we build out your talking points. And so within that, I kind of teach people how to not speak in its and how to have a presence even when you're not speaking, right? Giving someone direct eye contact, laughing, how to pivot when someone asks you a question that you're not comfortable at answering, and also how to stick to the talking points. It's okay to rear off sometimes, but also, why are you here? This is your opportunity. You have the cameras and you have the eyes. What are those key points that need to be spoken about why you have this opportunity? Yeah,
I think that's super important because I've had the pleasure of having a lot of people's like first interviews, and you definitely they'll be proficient in what it is that they do, and luckily in my case, they've been able to articulate that, I feel, pretty well. And then I also try to make it my job to make sure we can extract some of that from those conversations. But then some people will get on platforms and they just yap, and they just I'm here to yap, and it's
as a certified yapper, I don't hate that, but
you gotta have some points. You gotta have some takeaway points.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, pivoting is an art. So many times you have an interview and the reporter they want to focus on something else. And that's their prerogative. Yeah. Stay present, stay cognizant in whatever that is, but how do you still tie it back to those important points that we discussed before? Yeah. And so I do practice interviews in front of a camera, virtually, in person. We do a setup with the camera and then they can go back and watch it. Do you like the way you're standing? Are you leaned over? Did you chew gum? All these different ways that people don't understand that they're showing up. But if you can watch yourself back, then we can kind of critique it that way.
Now, if they're chewing gum during an interview, that's trifling.
No. And if I'm there, you're spitting it out. But I can't be everywhere. So it's I'd rather talk about that ahead of time than I see you on Fox 2 while I'm at another client event. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. You on there chewing gum on
like
national
making
TV.
me look bad. Like, could you imagine? I know, but yeah, that's what. And I love media training. I do because it's PR, communications, marketing. All of that is science based. I know a lot of people think like, oh, PR is just like shaking hands, kissing babies, going to like cool events.
Yeah,
that is a part of it. But there's a reason why a lot of us have degrees in it. It's because it is science based and research based. Yeah.
And in terms of public relation opportunities for folks, why do you feel like it's important for small businesses to invest in public relations? It might be a bit of a silly question, but I know that there are a lot of people of the thought process of, I don't have it in the budget, it's not necessarily important. Like, why would you say that they should invest in that?
So PR is a luxury. I will say that. If it comes between a publicist and getting your brick and mortar, they're going to choose their location. A website, they're going to choose that because that's longevity. But PR is the long lead. And I always tell people, do not hire a publicist and say, I need to be on the news in 3 weeks. That's not, there's so many different things out of our control. And I always say, if another publicist promised you something, either they had a client fall out and then they know that this news station has a slot that can be filled, or they're doing pay to play, which is there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
That's just not my arena. But it's not professional to make promises like that. And so PR can be something that everyone can definitely take advantage of when they're in the right space. So I always tell people, and I'm actually getting ready to do some online assets for people to get ready before they hire a publicist. A lot of times people come to work with me and they're like, I want to be on Fox 2, I want to be on CBS. They don't have a website. They don't have a landing page or a place someone can learn more. And so you go on Fox 2, you talk, you yap, you get the social media content, and then what? How can people find you?
Yeah.
What's your story? How do people connect with you? Is everything that needs to be done before you can be in front of the camera?
Yeah.
And so you can hire a publicist, but that's going to take your long lead time even longer because we have to work together to get that stuff together. Or you can do it where you use ChatGPT, or you kind of get yourself to a certain point before you hire a publicist. We're partners. We're not magicians. And I always say PR is a partnership. The same way someone's interviewing me to be their publicist, I'm interviewing them because I want to make sure you want to show up and be your best self. You don't drop your business in my lap and say, hey, go do this. It's brainstorming. It's working together. It's pushing each other. A lot of times my clients will have these great ideas and I'm like, yes, and did you think about this? And those are the type of people I love to work with because they are really looking to leave their mark in their industry. And I'm trying to do the same thing.
Yeah. How do you get them game ready, so to speak? So like everything that you had just mentioned in terms of, let's say that you have the foundational structure of your business together, but may not necessarily have the public relation pieces, which is obviously why they work with you. But your process, how do you get them game ready to say, all right, now I'm ready to put you on these major broadcasting networks?
Yeah. So that's multiple layers. So one is a brand audit. You can have a website, but is your messaging streamlined? Is it consistent across paid, owned, and earned? So does your social media reflect what it says on your website? When people come into your business, does that reflect within your customer service and your team and your representatives? And then when you get in front of the media, are you consistent and concise to be able to communicate all of that messaging when the camera comes on? So that's my job. And that's every publicist's job, is before we get you these opportunities to make sure when people do go to your website, you've put your best foot forward. Because a lot of times when people come to support and if the ball's dropped, they're not coming back. You have one chance to make a good impression on people. And so that's my job, to make sure you're making the best impression whenever we get these opportunities together.
For sure. And what's a hell no for you when it comes to potential clients? Like, you're like, nah, what's your deal breakers?
Oh, okay.
Don't dance around the question. I know you I know you media trained. Don't dance around the question.
I think my hell no, and this can sound very PR-ish, my hell no is someone who's just doing it for a quick buck and actually doesn't believe in what they're doing.
Okay.
Of course, make money. Of course. That's what we're doing it for. But if you just created this thing and you're like, hey, I'm pushing it out, what can you do? But you don't really want to show up. You don't even believe in it. How can I get other people to believe in that for you? Industry-wise, I mean, I've worked with a little bit of I've worked in the marijuana industry. I probably just wouldn't do like, what's a nice way to put it? Adult.
Okay.
content.
Okay.
That's not me. I wouldn't even know the industry or the landscape to begin with for that. So that's probably about it.
Is cannabis a tough industry to get traction in from like a public relations standpoint, just given the stigma around it, even though it has been legalized in plenty of states and in places?
So when I first worked with in the cannabis industry was probably about 6 years ago. So it was hard then because it wasn't legal everywhere. It's still not legal everywhere. And so what we decided to do was pivot more in the realm of the jobs that I was bringing to the community. The refurbishment, the building that they were getting ready to open was a building that had been left dormant within the community. It was an eyesore for years. And here comes this, quote unquote, illegal business, depending on the community, coming in and not only helping the economy, but building up, making the landscape better. So, and that's the thing though, right? When it comes to a publicist, it's our job to think outside the box. Even if it's something that could be a little bit taboo or a little bit different, how do we spin it to kind of reach as many people as possible?
And I got to give them credit because they names be so innovative.
Yeah.
Like they like Buzz R Us,
Yeah.
or like
Who wouldn't want to go?
they go for it.
Exactly. Because you have to make fun. You have to be memorable. You can't like marijuana store. Like, I mean, the liquor store could do it great, but like marijuana, and it's also knowing your audience. A lot of people that are, smoking or doing edibles, they're looking for a release. They're looking for a way to relax.
Right.
So making your brand something funny or fun and something people can connect with is definitely great from a marketing standpoint.
For sure. Do you have any triumphs that you could tell us in terms of customer testimonials or stories where it's like, when I started working with you, we had a ball of clay, and then when we got done, we had pottery.
Yeah. All my clients are triumphs. Honestly, I am really blessed to work with some great businesses, to be honest. And I feel like when you ask me that question, I kind of freeze a little bit because I'm like, hold on, if I name one of them, the other one may get jealous. So who do I pick? So I'll do it layered. So Chef Max Hardy, he passed away. I kind of took myself out the game for about a year, took a step back, revamped myself. And this is something I would do with a client too. Think through, how do I want to change? This was a tragedy within my personal life, professional life. This was the first person that believed in me. And when I started my business, he was my first client. And so all of a sudden that kind of like cheerleader was taken out of my atmosphere. And so I'm getting to your question.
Yeah, no, all good.
I'm just taking a step back.
All good.
And so I redid my website. I redid my messaging. I redid my imagery. I just kind of just pivoted with myself. And so when I got back into the community, I had to start all over, which is fine. And I reached out to Alexis Hull, who owns Push Pilates, and I was asking her something else. And she was like, "You're a publicist? Can we have a meeting?" And so we worked together, and it was just simpatico. 30 days, she was on every station, news, we did everything. Cranes, we did blogs. Her grand opening was to capacity. Like, it was stuffed. We had the first Black female mayor of Ferndale there. She did the ribbon cutting. We had so much community engagement, and it was it was not just a professional triumph. It was a triumph that when you do take a step back and redo your own business, you can come back and win. A lot of times people feel like if I slow down, I'll lose momentum. And no, sometimes stopping is the way to get to where you want to go. Other client wins, of course, Sydney at the Noble brand. She's one of my favorites. She's such a great partner because we love to brainstorm and get creative and think outside the box. And so with her it's this amazing brand of home fragrances, and it's the non-toxic realm, right?
Yeah.
So we could have pitched great candles. Buy it because it's Detroit based. Buy it because of this. Buy it because it's great for your health. Buy it because when you are lighting these Bath and Body Works candles and these other candles, you are breathing in toxins. And this is quality luxury candles that do not hinder your health. And so it was just fun to be able to, she was a retainer client, and we got some wins in there. On top of the events, we have Wellness Fest every year. We had our grand opening in the summer. We're getting ready to do another bigger and better location later this year. And so it's all of these triumphs because the media comes, right? I'm a publicist. I'm almost 10 years in. The media comes. But it's not just the media. It's the way we get to pivot and think outside the box and be different and tell the same story in many different ways. Because when you look at having a retainer client, I can't pitch the same topic every month. So not only does it have to matter to the community, it has to be timely. It has to get the producers and the reporters' eyes. They're getting hundreds of emails a day, on top of texts, on top of calls, on top of their personal lives. And so how am I thinking outside the box to make sure when I am getting their attention, it's something that they want to be a part of?
How do you go about your pitch process to get your clients on different platforms? I mean, that's part of how we met, but curious as to like how, if you could give us a peek behind the curtain to your process to get the job done.
So it's multiple layers. One is researching the outlet, right? I know you love to tell Black stories. I know you love to tell local stories and impactful stories, right? So I wouldn't pitch someone that's just doing like this random event and then they're going to go back into the ether and never come back and build into the community. And so doing your research, understanding who you're speaking with, understanding their audiences, but also timely, right? So March next month is Women's International Month or Women's History Month. So all of these women-owned brands, all of these women-led brands should be pitching now to get into the media. All of these brands that may not be women-owned, but they are supporting women's health, supporting women's mental health, or providing women-focused products. All of that is something that if you take the time to do the research, which is your editorial calendar, you can stagger and line up your stories to make sure that you're able to be impactful and keep the story going as long as possible.
Yeah. What does your day look like? Your day-to-day typically look like as a publicist? Because I have no idea. So like, how do you structure your days?
Every day is different, and that's why I chose it. To be fair, I couldn't do a job that I sit and do the same thing every day. It just isn't it's not where my brain lives. And so typically how I start my day is looking at the meetings that I have. If I haven't sent agendas out, like I've mentioned, corporate America, every time a client has a call with me, we have an agenda. They also get a full recap detailed. So that way everybody's on the same page. Of course, I could say, no, it's on their hands to do it, but I'd rather us be streamlined and have a real partnership. So start the day, look at the meetings for the day, make sure I have all the agendas out. Then we check email. If anything's a priority that has to be answered, when I get a new business request, I have a personal promise to myself to respond within 24 hours. If there's someone asking me about a response from something I pitched for a client, looking at all of those inboxes and making sure I'm responding in a timely way. A lot of times, producers probably have like an hour window when they're responding to me. So the first thing I do in the morning after I look at my day is to look at my inbox to make sure I'm not missing any opportunities. Then from there, I'm looking at the client projects and tasks that I have and prioritizing based on need and based on the time. So if a client has something going on, but one of their events is ahead of another, that one takes priority. Also checking in with my interns, making sure they're doing well and making sure if they have anything that needs to be rearranged based on maybe their personal or school life, that I'm able to give them, the area to say, hey, I know I promised you this deadline, but unfortunately I need to push it back. All of that good stuff. By the end of the day, I always like to write my to-do list the day before. So then that way when I'm sleeping, I'm not overthinking the things that need to happen the next 24 hours. Also, pitching is a large part of PR work, but it's not the whole day. A lot of it is research. So if I have a big event, I'm looking to see what person or industry or business did an aligned event in the past maybe 2 years, how media wrote about it, who decided to support it, who didn't. Also, looking at media, if I'm getting ready to pitch a client, if I'm getting ready to pitch a restaurant, but Fox 2 just had 3 restaurants in the past month, do they really want to do a restaurant right now? I'll pitch them and say, hey, what about the next month? Can I have this restaurant come on? Being able to come from a standpoint of making their job easier is the only way to do that is to do your research and do your due diligence.
And speaking of which, in terms of doing your research, I'm interested as to, given this the podcasting space, how do you source podcasts for your clients and how do you align them to the right opportunities with podcasts? Because it's a broad space. And then also I'm more so curious from a local standpoint, because I'm like, well, like what other shows out there may have you sent clients to that you really rock with or whatever the case may be. But I'm curious into the podcasting space because I don't think small businesses and people take enough, not advantage, but take to it as much as they probably should, because those spaces like can really align to what they're doing if they, choosing the right platforms.
Yeah. So when it comes to recalibration for a client, everybody wants to be on TV, right? But podcast is the gold. It is the long form content is where you really get to get deep into your story. It's also, you all are clipping these interviews up and pushing it out over time. Whereas Fox 2, you get maybe 2 to 3 minutes. Once it's there, it's gone. It probably lives on their YouTube or their website, but it's not being pushed out regularly. So I always like to recalibrate with clients and make sure they understand the long lead of PR. And that's being able to tell your story in a way that connects with people. And so just like after this interview, I'm sure you'll be able to like clip quotes, and I'll be able to utilize that, right? And be able to tell my story and be able to market my own business because of that. So small businesses, locally owned businesses should always look to uplift and support podcasts. Sometimes, even if I don't have the time to sit and look at YouTube and watch your episode all the way through, I'll play it in the background while I'm doing something else. Just because I want you to get the views. Because if you're getting the views, then that is reaching more audiences, more subscribers. When my clients get to come on, there's more people that are already supporting you. So that's how I look about it. And it's not even podcasts too. Detroit Free Press, Detroit News, all of these places I have subscriptions to. Because if I'm not supporting them, how am I able to do my job? Like if I turn around and one of the podcasts is closing because A, you didn't have the stories to tell or you didn't have the subscribers, that's our fault.
Yeah.
Because we're not supporting the people that want to tell our stories.
Are you subscribed to Black Fridays on
Of course.
podcast and YouTube?
Yes, and your newsletter.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
All right, there we go. That's what I'm talking about.
I get your newsletter. I'm like, hold on. Who's there? But also, I love our stories. Like, Detroit is very, very rich. So it's like, you're not just like, you don't just have like some rapper on just because he has a new single coming out. Like, you have just so many different people, such a variety of stories. And so that's what I like because, one, you never know who I may want to connect with. And two, I like storytelling.
Yeah.
And you do a really good job. I told you last time I was here, I see you on TV. You don't have your questions written down. It's off the dome, and it's like concise. It's a story being told where some people will be like, hold on, what was I going to ask you? Never mind. Let me look at my phone real quick. No, you're like speaking about such and such. I also wanted to ask you, and I'm like, that's where it is.
I appreciate that, but don't get it twisted. It'd be plenty of brain farts. I mean, I had to get it right just to do the intro this time, so it's plenty of brain farts that come with it. But I appreciate the compliment for sure. So let me see speaking of public relations, podcasting, let me see if I can get some coaching from you and some wisdom. So, situation that literally has happened to me as the platform continues to grow and do its thing. So I've had a couple of instances where obviously I come on here, I have people come on here, they share their stories, we have great conversations, but I've had situations where people will see one person on the platform and then they will be like, they'll have their own commentary on the back end where it's like, I feel this way about this organization or this way about this person, X, Y, and Z. So from a public relations standpoint, and then also like let me start there and then I'll do a part two. From a public relations standpoint, how would you advise a podcaster to handle something like that?
To handle people having their own opinions on your guests?
Yeah. If they're bringing it to you, like obviously you can do it on your own in the back end, but if they're bringing it to you, like what's your advice?
I would make them feel heard. Honestly, that's all people want sometimes. They don't even want you to do anything. They just want to know that they were able to get their thoughts out, for one. And for two, it's important to share that this platform is for people to share their stories. And no one story is scot-free. I'll put it that way. Everybody has something where I'm sure I have someone out there that was just like, listen, I worked with Alexis for maybe 30, 45 days. At the end, she said working with me felt like jail. And she said it nicely, but I send so many emails and follow-ups and things like that because that's my corporate background. But an entrepreneur and mother, she's like, why am I always getting these emails? So there's a way to make people feel like, yeah, I hear you loud and clear, but my platform is for people to share their stories, and that's the story I wanted to tell.
Yeah.
And when it comes to someone not taking ownership of something that they've done in the past, let's hope that they've done the internal work to be able to fix whatever they've done and show up even stronger. Yeah. And we're not judge or jury. So you're just a platform for people to share what's going on in the community.
Yeah. So you haven't had any instances where somebody was like, she beat me up in middle school. Like, how dare you work with them?
No, I mean, I was getting beat up in middle school. If we tell the truth, I had buck teeth. I always tell people the adult teeth I have now are the teeth I had as a child. So imagine that. But I mean, I'm sure there's people saying stuff, but the thing that I really work hard on is the good outweighing the bad. Am I perfect? No. People may have found me on the wrong day, and I had to let them know, like, okay. I also, as a woman, as an entrepreneur, sometimes people try to push and get more. And over time, I've had to learn to stand up for myself and have boundaries. And some people may have taken that as, she's a this, she's a that. That's okay. I know I was coming from a place where I was being my own advocate and not trying to be malicious. And that's okay with me. So everybody, like, some people are the hero, some people are the villain. Depends on who's telling the story.
For sure. How do you, I guess, protect what advice would you have for anybody who's doing any type of media? It could be social media, podcasting, YouTube content, whatever, movies. What's the best way for them to be able to protect their brand from the media perspective? Because I feel like you are more outward facing, like by design. So it's like, how do you kind of like, maintain your brand image, X, Y, and Z?
So to maintain, so say you have a positive brand image already, to maintain is to always be cognizant of what's going on. If you see me out and people are taking pictures, I most likely do not have a drink in my hand. If I'm tagged in something and maybe someone has like a curse word in the shirt or something like that, I know it sounds very traditional, but the industry is very traditional. And I can't tell my clients to show up as their best self and then I don't do the same thing, for one. The other side is someone, if they have a scandal or crisis and they're trying to come back out into the world, I would always say to state that head on. So say you have something going on that happened 5 years ago, misunderstanding or something like that, but then you're coming to me and you want to get on the news. One, I'll prepare you to be able to answer those questions and how to pivot in that moment. Or two, I would say, let's sit down. Let's do a podcast interview where you can tell the long story and tell your side. Or you do it across your own platforms. You can do like a blog post on your website. You can do a newsletter on your website. You could do a social media reel in which you're talking about this and you're saying X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z, here's how it is. And in that way, it's not anything it seems like you're running from. If you do things head on, you seem less likely to be perceived as wrong. If you can sit in it and say, I did X, Y, and Z, I was wrong, here's how I plan on doing better. Yeah. Or X, Y, and Z is said about me, but here's the real situation and this is how I'm not actually who they say I am.
Yeah. How would you handle a situation where, for me, it's that it hasn't happened much at all. It's been a rarity for me so far, but just wondering, like, someone who could potentially who has a checker pass, let's say, and they would like to come on a platform and be able to like tell their side of the story. It's like, for me, my journalistic integrity would be interested in telling the story, but depending on the circumstance and the situation, my personal values would be like, nah, I can't do that. Yeah. Like I can't provide my platform for you to share your thing.
I would say go with what aligns most with your values, right? So if it's something where someone's accused of doing something and you don't believe them, you think they did do it, but they want to come tell their story, I think that's okay to say, no, that's I can't do that for you, and that's okay. If it is a situation where you do want to lend your platform to them, I would say, one, let them know you have editorial control at the end. So there's no back and forth of, hey, I don't like that. Hey, I don't like, well, this is a part of the story and this is what I plan on telling. Two, having a creative meeting ahead of time. And then that way they can kind of speak to how they want to come. And if you're feeling like there's no transparency there, or that's not the way they want to show up isn't the way your audience would respect, then it's okay because you have to keep true to who you are and the reputation that you've built. And so if you get someone on here lying and dodging questions and all this other stuff, and then people are like, then what was the point? Like, what did I just listen to?
Right.
And then you're getting people in the comments talking about, Denzell, you didn't pivot. You didn't ask him this. You didn't ask him that.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And then it makes you look bad.
Right.
So I think it's all coming from like their integrity, if you can trust it. And if you're willing to put your name on the line for them, because that's all we have at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's somebody it's a Detroit figure that has been popping up in the news and media outlets lately, and they've been doing exactly that. They've been lying and dodging questions. I'm like, what's the point, bro?
Yeah.
Like, we ain't, yeah, what we doing this for?
Yeah, like if you don't want to tell the truth, or if you want to dodge, I would say just sit low.
Yeah.
Fortunately, people's attention spans are very short, and the news cycle is very quick. But if you're accused of something, you know you did it, and you want to duck and dodge, just sit this one out.
You ain't gotta say nothing.
Just don't say nothing,
You don't have to say
because
nothing.
what you don't want is for you to be out here dipping, dodging, and then somebody comes with the receipts.
Bingo.
And then you're sitting on a couch thinking you're having this great interview, and then somebody says, "So tell me about that."
Yeah.
And then what?
Right.
So
leave me out of it.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I would say sit it out. I mean, depending on what it is, like just sit it out, because I don't want to be a part of any story that is detrimental to not just them but to me.
Right.
Because then, standing next to someone can take you far or take you down.
Yeah.
So we have to do that courtesy to ourselves and make sure whoever we're attaching ourselves to are people we're proud of.
Do you advise your clients against stuff like that in terms of like being mindful of the company that you keep?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. I especially some of my male clients, I'm always advocating for NDAs, because you would love to be able to think you're just having this pillow talk with this nice young woman and da 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 da.
Whole time you on the meta glasses.
Yes,
yeah.
the meta glasses, or you're being secretly recorded, or it may be harmless. You could just be having girl talk, and I'll switch it. It can be men too, just having girl talk, but it could be proprietary information you didn't want to say, and it doesn't have to be salacious. It could have been something you're getting ready to put in your book, and you wanted that to be an exclusive, but because you were sharing it with someone, now it's no longer as important as you thought it was. So I would always say, the company you keep, birds of a feather flock together. And I would always say your circle should be aspirational and inspirational. It should be people who are doing, better than you in some aspects. It could be people that are on your level, but they motivate you because they're motivating themselves. Like, if you knew better, you do better.
For sure. And I always think about, coming from a communication background myself, I always think about being able to, if I had someone who could have helped guide the trajectory of my education and my career back when I was younger, either in college, fresh out of college, high school, maybe, being able to get some game and some wisdom from them. If you could put yourself in those young people's shoes and be able to give them game on why they should pursue, if they're thinking about a career in public relations, and what would that wisdom be that you would give to them?
So I have multiple answers to that.
Okay.
As a certified yapper. One is, we're all winging it. Going into corporate America, going into these offices, it can feel very intimidating because, one, it's like different jargon and all these things, but everybody is doing their best. So just go in and have the tenacity, want to learn, want to do great things, want to tell stories. That's half the battle. And your supervisors, the CEOs, they'll notice that. They'll notice that hunger, because a lot of people are just there to get a check. And a lot of people are just there to go to the great events, and that's fine too. But the people who want it are always noticed in the room. The other avenue is, I was just speaking with another colleague. I meet a lot of people that are like, I went to school for PR and I just couldn't do it. PR is a rich girl's game. PR is definitely a industry of connections that can help support you. And so when I started, as a blessing, it was in Tallahassee. The cost of living in Tallahassee is very, very cost effective. I won't say it's cheap, but it's cost effective. And so I'm starting this, I started at this agency, and through college, I was working in a department store. When I started in the agency, my salary was less than what I was making at the department store. And so that's what I mean by it's kind of a rich girl game, because you'll need, support. And so within that, if you don't have that support system, go after those grants, go after those scholarships, go after those opportunities that will kind of help you bridge the gap, because starting out, it's not always the fluffiest salary. And depending on the industry, it's so expensive. Like a lot of people want those internships in New York and in California and those flashy cities. It's expensive. So I would say, think through that process and don't give up if that's really something you want to do, because I wouldn't do anything else. It's something I really love. And then also, as you grow and as you learn, keep track of your wins. It's very easy to get into that corporate structure and be like, oh, the marketing team is going to do our case study. No, keep track of your personal wins. I have a Excel document of every article that I've pitched. Not every, some have fallen through the cracks, but articles I've pitched and the links and who I pitched and all these other things. The other thing is I have a alert on my Google Calendar that says, you are who you think you are. Read your resume. It's so easy to put your head down and just want to do it. And you're like, oh, I'll see another publicist and I'm like, oh, I would have loved to do a campaign like that. I've done it. 10 years in, I've done it. So, but you're so distracted with trying to get the work done and trying to prove your point that we kind of forget. So I would say, as you grow and as you learn, keep track of those wins and also acknowledge that we're all just doing our best. Nobody has it figured out.
Yeah, that's fire. And you mentioned that it's a rich girl's game. I'm curious as if you have any insights on why PR is predominantly woman predominant.
Okay, so I have hypotheses.
Okay.
One, it is connected to, I know you've read the studies on like men are having like a loneliness epidemic.
Really?
Women, it's a whole thing. I don't know if it's
an
excuse. I don't know if it's research based, but it's a whole campaign right now.
Okay.
And the topics are, women, we are taught to be relational. We are taught to be attached and aligned to someone at all times, kind of. And so in PR, your relationships are what take you far. I absolutely love the media that I get to work with within this city. I'm really blessed that Detroit's media they're quality people. But some of them, I just go out to drinks with them. I just text them, hey, I saw you, blah, blah, blah. That's just, I think sometimes men can be so like tunnel vision sometimes that if it doesn't have an immediate win to it, that they don't want to like pour into that.
Gotcha.
And so I would say women, we're just automatically relational is what that's my hypothesis. It's not research based.
Okay.
The other thing is probably looks. PR is very much like a visual industry where, in my first agency, I was taught to have a statement piece for every time you were somewhere. So like something like this.
The tie. Yeah.
Yes. It's a conversation starter. When you walk in a room, if it's a room full of people, if I walk in with this, people are like, she's got on a jeweled tie. But it's a way to kind of like pull the energy in the room towards you so you don't feel like you're like drifting through and aimlessly and nobody notices you. So I would say it's a little bit of those things, but I could be wrong. Like it could be, I know it's a lot of male publicists that are out here killing the game. They are, I follow them. But I know what you're saying, like majority is women, especially in Detroit.
Yep.
But I would say it's probably because of the relations.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So, Kiana, what do you have on the horizon? What's in your crystal ball? I know you got some new services that you're rolling out. If it's any new projects you're excited about, you can share with us, please. Let us know what you got coming up.
Yes. 2026 is going to be a big year. I keep saying that just because I have these really big ideas, and they're ideas that I've wanted to do in the past. But in the past, I was so busy like trying to prove that I was a great publicist in this city. And so some of them will be online assets for people that cannot afford a publicist right now, how to get yourself ready, how to be your own publicist while you still need to tell the story. Another thing is I will start services within like day of event support. A lot of times people reach out to me and they want to work with me and they can't afford me. They just need my support for that day. And so I'll have that available soon. I need to think through, what does that structure look like? How do I meet people where they are in a way that we can both work together within that partnership? And another thing is leaning more into workshops and speaking and things like that. I love pouring back into communities. And that's one of the reasons I started Key Takeaways was I was doing great work at these agencies, but if you couldn't afford $50,000 a month, you couldn't work at the agencies. You couldn't work with those agencies that I was working at. And so being able to help support the stories that needed to be told that may not have a bloated PR budget, and that's okay. So within that, I love helping entrepreneurs, businesses, brands, but how can I help as many people as possible within one instance? And that'll be speaking in workshops and helping people get to the places that they want to be, whether they can afford me or not, but they can still have an impactful experience with me.
And are we going to see more of you in front of the camera?
Yes, if it's intentional.
Okay.
I have to tell myself, just like I tell my clients, I don't need to get pretty to get in front of a camera for no reason. But what's the point? I'm here because I know this type of stories you like to tell. I know you like to dig deep into businesses, just with the Black Business Tour, all of these different ways that you uplift in your own communications way, right? So that's why it was an easy yes to come here. But if it's intentional, if it's purposeful, if it is aligning with how I want to show up with 2026, yes.
So they're not just going to catch you yapping on camera.
No, I can do that at home.
Fair enough.
I can do that over drinks with friends. I don't need to know. No,
you ain't got to have in front of the camera and do it.
No. The camera yap it's always intentional.
For sure. So where can the people tap in with you? What's your website, your social medias, how they can get connected with you if they are looking for a publicist?
Yeah.
Some of your services, how can they get in touch with you?
Instagram is Kiana_the publicist. My website is keytakeaways.com. If you know you need a publicist, but you don't know in what capacity, I do have a quiz on my website, and it'll kind of ask you questions and kind of steer you in the way of how you can work with a publicist. Just because a lot of people hear you need PR and they don't actually know what that is, and that's okay. Also, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. If you see me out in the city, I love to yap in person too. So just come up to me. I'm never a who are you type of girl. I love to meet new people.
Very dope. Well, we appreciate you for pulling up to the platform and sharing your wisdom with us about the PR game. And it's been great to be able to work with some of your clients that have come on the platform and being able to share their stories. And look forward to continuing to work with you in that capacity and then see what other projects and things that you bring to life.
Well, thank you for having me. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Of course. Everybody watching, listening, we're going to tap in with y'all soon. Peace.